Daphne. I'm a senior at Philip and Sala Bergen. Also, I'm the secretary for the Student Associated Council. My question is for everybody sitting here. How are you going to work with all of the high schools so that each one has an equal opportunity in terms of college and SAT readiness programs and even access to counselors?
Thank you again. That's a great question. How do we work with all high schools? First, I think we need to hear from all high schools. We need student representation at every level of board meetings and board agendas. I think we need to hear from everybody. As far as getting all children ready for college, I believe that some children don't want to go to college, but our California state academic standards prepare those students, prepare our children to be whatever they want and to do whatever they want. All the goals to make you, every student here, a successful person in life. So what you want to do after high school, I think that's totally up to you. But I think you'll be prepared to go to college, to go to trade school, to go wherever you want and do whatever you want and be successful at that. But to do that, we always need to hear from you. We always need student voice.
So I'm all about partnerships. So I would envision a very strong partnership with the Student Advisory Council, with the Youth Commission, on how best to do this kind of outreach. When I was co-chair of the Parent Advisory Council that Community Office helped to found, we convened small group discussions at most of the elementary schools, and we had a discussion about the student assignment process. It was really very successful. Some of the voices that we hadn't heard before came across in those small groups or focus groups. So I would love to partner with other organizations to convene small groups at different high schools on how best to proceed.
Well, I'm going to answer your question in a way that you may not have intended the question exactly, but I hope you'll appreciate what I have to say. I think there are some schools in San Francisco that are almost always completely invisible in these kinds of school board discussions and debates. And I'm talking about the non-government schools, schools that are voluntarily funded by the community instead of being funded forcibly through taxation. I think it's important that we remember these schools and talk about and recognize that they are part of the educational foundation in San Francisco. And that, really, when we're talking about education in San Francisco, we need to talk beyond just government schools, and also include students who are homeschooled, parents who are homeschooling students. How do we help them in terms of getting them the resources we need? How do we, hook up the schools that are not part of this San Francisco Unified School District, but are run, by different community organizations? How do we hook those schools up, to be able to take better advantage of some of the programs and opportunities that are sometimes offered through the government school system, so that nobody is left behind. Because those schools are not only in many cases doing a better job educating students, but they're saving, they're doing it at lower costs to the public. And we all know, with budget deficits and chronic shortages of money that government at all levels in this country now is really dealing with. So I think we need to really try to think outside the box in terms of how we actually get people the best education, whether it's through a government-run school or not.
So, on the school board over the last couple of years, we've actually been implementing some really strong policies to have all of this make sense for us, right? Because if you have a really strong teacher at your school who wanted to implement some college career, then if you're at that school, then you got that program. But if you were in a school where you didn't have someone that was taking lead on this, you didn't get the services. So some of the things that we've been doing is first of all, the APA requirements. And now we're making it so that all of our kids have to graduate eligible for CSU and UC. So that if we were graduating kids with such graduate kids, then they couldn't go on any further necessarily if they weren't taking their APA requirements. So now that's a policy on this. And we've also been putting together some of the programming. So we just approved a plan ahead curriculum, so all ninth graders will be college and career in every single high school. So it's not just, again, if you have somebody who's taking the lead on it, but an actual curriculum that was given to us from outside resources to put into all of our ninth grades. We recently just got this SLIP grant, Communities Learning and Partnerships. That's a Bridge to Success program. So Gates has invested back into our school district. They've given us $1 billion every year for the next 3 years to align our high school curriculum with City College so that everybody will have an opportunity to go into City College prepared and not have to go through remedial work and spend 2, 3, 4 years at City College instead of the 2 years at PD and then transfer into a 4-year university. We also have Avenue in a lot of our schools, and we also need to be thinking about what we're going to be doing around summer programming because that's when a lot of our kids are losing their learning. We also have Prop H. The city has been extremely generous in making sure that we have resources for our schools. And Prop H has helped us to keep some of our counselors and learning support services in our schools. So there's a lot of things that we've done on the board over the last 4 years that have helped to make sure that college readiness and career readiness for all of our high schools is available to all of our high school students.
Okay. So really what Mendoza has said is some of the policies that I helped put to paper. You know, you have to be very intentional about what you're doing on the Board of Education and what are the outcomes that you want to see. That's why I was the co-author for making certain that we have open and advanced placement and honors courses available for any student that wants to take those classes. Right? Not just where it's at school, that's all you're looking to. Also championing and making certain that every student graduates with age course requirements so they can walk into any 4-year university if they choose to do so. And that they'll have those choices, but also making certain to get Prop H, our public education enrichment fund, that we have counselors there doing that work with students and making certain that we're very intentional about strategically placing money where it needs to be. District-wide, not just a few locations, district-wide. And I'm very careful in my thinking and in my intention about what policies I put together and how they serve all students across the district. And I think it's that kind of planning and effort to putting something to paper as a school board member. We should be focusing on all schools across the district and making sure that they all have opportunities, not just a few, but all have opportunities. And those are the things I do to make certain that they get folks into college, but also making certain that they're supported on the way they want to.
Excuse me, I'm just a parent, so I can't remember all of that stuff. Can you please repeat the question?
My question was, how are you going to work with all high schools so that each one has an equal opportunity in terms of college and SAT readiness programs and even access to school counselors?
Well, I won't go so far as to say I need your voice because it's a bit disrespectful. So what we as adults need to do and the school board needs to do and also the city needs to do is not only to begin to focus, because by the time you start to engage with high school, it's already too late. I mean, it's nice to talk about APUG and the college requirements and things of that nature. I currently sit on the board of trustees for APUG High School. And if you don't come in ready for APUG, you're going to drop out of school. You're going to go back to another school where the requirements are much lower. So what we have to do is begin to really focus at the elementary school level first before we can apply an APUG outgoing curriculum. So it's really important that the district focuses on the resources that are needed to get the counselors into the school system and all of those courses that are needed. I mean, because again, if we are on this side and we know how to get to this bridge, I'm not going to come and ask you to give me the road down so I can get to where I am. We need to put these kind of measures into place, and I think every student should have counselors available for them in every school, so that if it's their choice to go to college or not, they at least have these things available for them to have access to wait to get there and to talk to a counselor. This is already too late. So I think the district needs to be focused. I mean, now this is a good time since the budget is really bare bone and down to nothing. We can kind of reset and start to rebuild these schools like they need to be built in order for you guys to have a better and more successful and sustainable life. And that's what needs to happen. It's not rocket science. It's not a whole bunch of stuff.